Greetings everybody, Fu here with part 17 of Build Your Republic Commando thread. We're going to go ahead and start on the backpack. What I've done here is I've gone ahead and started the entry portion for the back because you're going to need access here for getting into your lights and electronics and doing some of your attachments depending on who it is that you end up building. What I've done is I took the back plate, measured it out, I did the math for you. You got a 12-inch wide pack here. So your actual back portion is 8.5 inches. So figure out where center is. You're going to do an 8.5 inch wide box. Square it on the backpack. Don't try to trace it with the backpack in place. Go ahead and square it on this. 8.5 inches wide. It's about 8 3/4 tall. And then come in 1.5 inches from that mark in all directions, and you're going to end up with a 5.5 inch grid on the inside. This gives you plenty of room to reach in there. A lot of guys like to store stuff when your kit is in the in his box. You can put your gloves and different pieces in there. So this will give you lots of access, and it doesn't really compromise the strength or integrity of the piece. One of the other reasons that we're doing this first is I'm going magnetic. Went out and got more rare earth magnets. I've got 4 on there right now. I'm probably going to add 4 more along the top just to beef it up. This should be okay for a standard pack. It makes it a nice clean back plate if you're going to do no backpack and just use the TZA lit up back plate on the armor itself. If you've got a Scorch or a Darman or a Fixer, you're going to be adding more weight on there, and you can use post screws in here. That's actually what I did on my other kit, just because I hadn't thought about magnets a whole lot at that point. But I'm probably going to do rare earth magnets. So what I did is I didn't glue these magnets in first. I glued them into the back portion first. Take a look. Ahead and globbed DevCon into each corner, do them one at a time. Glob it in there, pop a rare earth magnet in it, spread it around all the sides, over the top. That will hold it well in place. Once that's hardened and you've got all 4 corners secured, go ahead and take your backpack. And this works best if you set it on the chest because these magnets won't be attached yet. Set it on there, and you can see just by dropping the magnets into the back where they're going to naturally attach to. Go ahead and mark those spots, and then same thing, one at a time. Let the 3 others hold it, and then one at a time go ahead and goop in your DevCon, hold the magnet, make sure you got the polarity right, and then let it snap into place. Do that with all 4, and then before those harden, you want to make sure that the lip here on the backpack sits right on top, and you should have your line marked, should run along each side, and that will give you a nice magnetic removable closure. It'll take the weight. You know, you're not going to be doing anything more than walking in this anyway. You know, if you really jump up and down with just 4 magnets, yes, it will slip off. But remember, you're walking around in this. So if you're going for something where you don't want those post screws sticking out or you don't want the holes, this is an option. And like I said, I'm going to be putting more magnets on there, but I wanted to show you this step so that before you get it closed up, you can have your magnets in place. Okay, as far as shimming the sides and the edges, you see I cut for pretty much every section that's more than a 1/2 inch long. These little guys here, we are going to shim, but I wanted to get the bigger ones glued in first because it took pretty much every clamp I had to do it all at once. So mix it up. You don't need a whole lot. Remember, this is a toy backpack. This is not for putting a Dolby surround sound system in. That's a joke for my squad mate Jaster, who has put speakers in, and he plays the Republic Commando soundtrack while we're trooping. It's kind of cool, but I like to give him a hard time. Alright, so shim out. When you get to the tops and the bottoms, you're going to need to do just a slight shim and bevel it. Either take a knife or grind it, because the upper portion of the pack that you're going to put on there is beveled on the top and the bottom. So you can't do a straight up shim. You're just gonna have a little lip that you're gonna add in there and bevel it so you've got something to glue onto so that those surfaces will meet up nicely. Same thing on the other side. Get them all in there, and when you've got this div count that's bubbled up, take your grinder and just grind it back down. Get the bottom shim in. Once you've got this, go ahead and go back and figure out, you know, all these little sections, because the more shims you have, the less gluing and fabricating you're going to have to do later, or Bondo work if that's the way you want to go. Okay, then take your top, match it up, and you'll figure out, okay, I've got to trim. You can see I've already cut the corners there so that it matches up with angles, so everything closes okay. So that is going to be the bulk of the pack construction. I'll do another one when we actually get into closing it all up and doing the electronics, because we'll actually do the electronics work on this piece before we attach it on, just so that you're not trying to work in a confined space. But you can go ahead and get this, get it standing, get it ready. Make sure it's going to line up really well, because there's a lot of angles on the pack, a lot of places where you don't want to have to use a ton of glue or a ton of Bondo or sand your life away. So go ahead and get going on that, and next time I come back to the pack, we'll do electronics, do a closure, and I'll show you the post screw hanging if you're going to be doing a heavier backpack and you want to make sure that it doesn't fall off because you've got the scorch tubes, Darman tubes, or the fixer combo pods. I'm Fu. Have a good one.